Hello and welcome to another solar PV monthly update. So I do these every month. The only difference this month is I'm filming this with a slightly different camera. So I recently picked up the Sony ZV-1. It's a little bit improved for vlogging, so hopefully we'll see how well it works for this video. So before we kind of roll the intro, just a reminder, so I'm based in West Midlands here in the UK. I have a 9 kilowatt solar array, get my words out, with a 6 kilowatt solar edge inverter. Connected to that I have a Tesla Powerwall 2 with a non-backup gateway. I also have a My Energy Zappi, which is used for charging electric vehicles, and a My Energy Eddy, which is used for heating the hot water with the surplus solar. So let's roll the intro and kind of go through everything. Okay, so I'll just get things loaded up here on the screen. A couple of things, I guess, to talk to people about, to give some information, well, give some perspective to some of the information that we're going to share on the screen. So if you regularly watch these videos, you'll know in the past I had a problem with a little roof leak. That all seemed to be fixed, but unfortunately in June we had some really bad weather, and again that little small leak here is back again, which is frustrating. So the solar people have been out really quickly, done some assessment, and now actually getting another roofing firm to come in July, beginning of July. All the panels are going to come off again for a couple of days whilst the new roofing company get up there and have a look and replace some things to make sure we alleviate any issues. So a bit frustrating. Obviously we'll lose out on a little bit of solar, but at least it'd be good to get this leak fixed. Also in June, as the lockdown stuff has eased, I've been using my car a bit again. I didn't remember to make a note of the mileage and stuff, but obviously that's why you always see kind of more charging the car with the Zappi, and obviously consuming a little bit more electricity, both mainly from surplus, but there has been a little bit that's come from the grid as well. So let's get things loaded up here. As I always mention, I am on the Optimus Go tariff, which means for 4 hours early in the morning I only pay 5 pence per kilowatt for electricity, so that's when I will pull from the grid if needed to charge the car or heat hot water or anything like that. So let's just get this up and running, and we can go through the review. I've noticed that the solar edge site is running a little bit slow lately. One other update to make people aware of, obviously not for June but for July, purchased an additional electric vehicle, so kind of a Mark II 40 kilowatt Leaf, joining the family fleet, so there'll be additional electric vehicles to charge during that period as well. Right, here we go. So, month of June 2020. Let's see how we have got on. So, system production for June 2020 was pretty much spot on 1 megawatt hour of electricity. Managed to self-consume 87% of that, so 13% exported, and my consumption was 983.33 kilowatt hours. But we did import 11%, which is weird, isn't it? So that's okay. No, that's fine. So we did export more than we imported. And we can see here on the graph, we had some kind of killer days, but we did have a few days that weren't that great during June. I think maybe it was on the 18th that the panels were off, but we'll have a look. But let's have a quick comparison of June 2019 to 2020, and we can see there 2020 was just a little bit better than June 2019, so that's interesting. So let's go into the day by day. So 1st of June, good solar day there, 56 kilowatt hours of electricity generated. I think that's kind of near to my top solar generation so far. I'll have to check at a different time if there is some historical max kind of generation that's stored in the Solar Edge app. That'd be quite handy to spot. Go on to the second. Apologies if you can hear the dog snoring in the background there. Another good day of generation, 51 kilowatt hours. You can see we're exporting massive amounts, 20.14 kilowatt hours there. It's obviously a little bit overcast, so we've got a few gaps in there, but we can see pretty early on, obviously clipping it out at around 6 kilowatts. And the thing I like the most is you see generation is starting about 4:45 a.m. and by what's that, 8 o'clock we're pretty much at max. Okay, sorry about that. One of the reasons I moved or bought this camera is the other camera I normally use for some of the vlogs is this little one. When I'm recording in 4K, after 5 minutes it stops recording, and on this camera you can bypass that. And I thought I'd set the setting right, and I hadn't. So I'll just change that now, so hopefully it's not going to stop recording again. So back on with the 3rd of June. So as I was saying, so obviously the Powerwall's not expecting there to be a lack of sunlight here, which is why it hasn't charged in the evening. So we're not doing too bad during the day where there is some generation, but when it comes to the evening and cooking stuff, I'm having to pull from the grid. On the 4th, we can see a little bit of grid action, so it's probably maintenance cycle of the Powerwall there, and some reasonable generation during the day that powers the computers and servers and the home usage and everything. But again, in the evening, we're having to pull from the grid. Go to the 5th. Now we can see the Powerwall is charging. I think, if I remember correctly, I did boost the hot water to pull from the grid for an hour or something in there. But then the actual generation during the day wasn't too bad, so a little bit of export going on, but kept us good all the way through into the evening. 6 was a goodish day, enough generation, charged the Powerwall, and kept us going into the next day. Let's wait for that. On the 7th, again, another good day, 36 kilowatt hours of generation, a little bit of export, but no problems, give us exactly what we need. On the 8th, again, another reasonable day, 38.97 kilowatt hours. And again, as I mentioned on many other videos, you're always going to get a little bit of grid import just for balancing everything, but it's minimal compared to what we're exporting, which is why it all balances out fine. 9th, another reasonable day as well. 10th, not too good, 18.75 kilowatt hours, but again, enough to keep us going through into the next day. On the 11th, a little bit of grid action happening here. So I still have my Powerwall set to not be solar only. So as far as the Powerwall is concerned, between 12:30 and 4:30 in the morning, that's off-peak time. So if it thinks it makes sense, it will pull from the grid, which is obviously what it's doing here. But then, we had a bit of a crappy day, which is then again when we come to the evening and to cook and stuff, may have even boosted something there, perhaps a dishwasher, I can't remember, but we had to again pull from the grid, so nearly 10 kilowatt hours coming from the grid on the 11th. On the 12th, more Powerwall charging, and I think maybe a little bit of hot water as well. Again, not a particularly brilliant day, but didn't have to pull from the Powerwall in the evening, or from the grid, sorry. More Powerwall charging again in the morning on the 13th, but a reasonable solar day, so 32 kilowatt hours, so keeps us going all the way through. Not need to pull from the grid anymore. Things are stabilised again, so no Powerwall charging early in the morning. And again, reasonable day, bit of exporting, around 34 kilowatt hours generation on the 14th. Here we have on the 15th, a pretty good day, 52.46 kilowatt hours, so a good day of generation there. Nothing to grumble at, and 3.24 kilowatt hours being exported. 16th, again, not a bad day. Power would have been fully charged and everything, which is why we got a bit of export going on there. So 35 kilowatt hours. Again, not really needing to pull from the grid. 17th, not a great day. Obviously some pretty heavy clouding there in the afternoon, but enough that we don't need to pull from the grid again. 18th is a bad day. So as you see, again, the power won't have charged because it doesn't foresee that the weather's going to be bad, so it doesn't need to pull from the grid during off-peak. And we were on the grid pretty much the whole day, so 13.71 kilowatt hours imported from the grid, and just under 9 kilowatt hours from solar. Move to the 19th. Again, so pulling from the grid, little small maintenance cycle I think there of the power wall. Not quite sure what these little blips are here. It's 6 o'clock. Yeah, not quite sure what those are. But again, another pretty rubbish day, and a little bit of imports in the 8 kilowatt hours imported from the grid on the 19th. Okay, 20th, some Powerwall charging in the morning because again it's been bad for a couple of days, so the Powerwall's thinking that the weather's not going to be that great. But only 30 kilowatts hours of solar, so a good again for the day, no need to pull from the grid. 21st, reasonable day, nearly 40 kilowatt hours, so no problem. A little bit overcast throughout the day, as you can see, it's very spiky, and a little couple of early morning blips during the off-peak, pulling from the grid there. But again, less than 2 kilowatt hours altogether. And again, I'm only paying 5 pence a kilowatt, so that's 10 pence. Nothing to grumble at. 22nd, pretty good day, 54 kilowatt hours, bit of exporting going on. Again, no need for us to pull from the grid. 23rd, so this is the day that the solar guys come back again to take some panels off. So obviously to inspect the leak, but means obviously there's no generation during that time gap, but still 45 kilowatt hours of electricity generated, even while the panels are off. And obviously while the panels are off, I can still be running from the power wall. So that kind of charging that happens up in the morning meant we had no grid to pull on that day. 24th, another pretty good day. So not the best of curves, but actually not too bad. Some good solid clipping throughout the day. And nearly 52 kilowatt hours of energy generated. 25th, another good day. Nice good curve all the way up to lunchtime, and it kind of peaked off a little bit, but pretty good. 26th, you can see very overcast in the morning, then suddenly boom at 9:30, just pretty much full on all the way through till just after lunch, and a good solar day, nearly 42 kilowatt hours there. Okay, then 27th again, a bit spiky, but still reasonable day, 30 kilowatt hours generated, a little bit of import early on there during the off-peak time, not quite sure why it's doing that. These are just the weird nuances of having battery technology working itself out. And we have the 28th, again, not a bad day, 47 kilowatt hours, very overcast, so spiky graph, not optimal, but again, more than sufficient for our daily needs. And in these days I have got my car plugged in, where possible, charging as well, so yeah, it's all good. 29th there, again, 20 kilowatt hours, so not great, but enough to meet the household needs, charge the power wall, etc. So no problems there. And then on the 30th, you can see a bit of grid pull in the morning. So that will be, let's just see what's happening there. I remember there was a couple of times that I boosted the water early in the morning. So that could be a bit of water and power wall there. I feel like it's not constant enough to have been the power, so I think it would have been a bit of hot water. Again, not a great day. Bring this in to the end of the month. So that's it. Let's stop looking at the screen and then talk about the other stats that I have to share. Okay, so one thing that I have kind of noticed, I think that the Zappi, I think it lies. I think it lies to me because I don't think in June I had the Zappi plugged in overnight on any occasion to charge from the grid. Because even though I had been going places, it wasn't enough that I kind of needed to charge up. So I would just let the car, charge from solar. So yeah, I'm a bit confused. But we'll look at the stats anyway. But that's why I think it says everything wasn't green. So not quite sure where it's getting off on telling me those lies. I think they're lies. Where are we? Okay, here we are. Right, so yes, so the Zappi is saying that for the month of June, only 62% of my charging, 62% of my charging came from the grid. And there's no way I pulled 772 kilowatt hours of energy from the grid. It's just madness, absolute madness. So I don't think these stats are anything that can be trusted. And 480 kilowatts hours from solar surplus, and I don't think there would have been that much surplus. So I think, as usual, I just can't trust those My Energy stats. It just makes no sense. But that's that on the Zappi. The Eddy, I think we can trust a little bit more. So that is saying 96 kilowatt hours of solar surplus heating hot water, which kind of makes sense to me. And then the Powerwall, we managed to get 282 kilowatt hours of energy out of the Powerwall into the house. So that's it for month of June. So again, as usual, please share with me in the comments below how your system has performed. So where are you? What's the size? How things have performed? Also, if you've got any questions, again, about the setup or some of the data or anything. And like I said earlier on, we're starting to travel a little bit more. Wife and kids are still homeschooling and working from home, so travel is still minimal. And I've only really been traveling around because I've been, had some family stuff that I've been having to deal with, and then a little bit of travelling in a car hunt to find this new car for my wife. So as mentioned, from kind of quite early on in July, we will have 2 EVs. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how we kind of manage charging of the 2 cars and what impact that has on both our grid consumption and what we can do from solar whilst the weather's still good. But yeah, that's it. So I will do a video on the 40 kilowatt Mark II Nissan Leaf that we get when we get it. I've already done one where I had one for a day, but it'd be a bit different to kind of talk about why I decided to get this car and obviously over time how it compares in terms of driving and economy and customer service compared to my Tesla Model S. But that's it. As always, thanks for watching, and as the end credits always say, share, like, subscribe. Consider joining the Discord channel. As I mentioned before, you can hang out there. There's information on that in the description. Ask other people, like-minded people, questions, and just generally talk and hang out and have a natter. So hope you're staying well, take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you in another video. Oh, let me know, was this camera any good and what was the audio like, because everything's happening on this camera in this video. Cheers. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.